We go live now. So, hi, hello, friends. My name is Aslam Sheikh, your host for this evening, and or maybe this afternoon, because we have just shifted our time from 5 p.m. to 3 p.m. just to accommodate our speakers from New Zealand. I'm founder and CEO of Alif, a platform to promote the global perspective of education and career. This is our 14th webinar series on this platform and broadcasted live on Facebook and YouTube. Every Friday, we aim to bring in the valuable speakers to discuss the topic that is important to you and help students and parents to make a wise career decision. So if you have not liked our Facebook page or subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, I would invite you to just log on to facebook.com/Alif Overseas or Aslam I Sheikh, or on YouTube, youtube.com/Alif Overseas or Aslam I Sheikh, and subscribe to our channel. And those who are joining us first time, let me introduce you Alif in a very short and crisp way. So here we are. So the word, the alphabet Alif is the first in Urdu and Arabic language, which denotes the beginning, the start of a journey, the start of education. And we thought that this alphabet should be our company name, and that is the genesis of Alif. About our profiles, we are qualified consultants registered with British Council, certified by ISEF, Berlin, Weber, Switzerland, UniAgent, awarded by Singapore Education as a Singapore Education Specialist, ISO certified, and we have counseled over 23,000 students till date, have got 100% admission success ratio, 95% visa ratio, which is among the best in the industry, and have got 14 countries to represent and having some very good universities. What is our promise to our students and parents is a 100% admission guarantee. We use the word guarantee because once we identify your application and we match with the university requirement, then only we forward to the university, and that's why you get the guarantee for the admission. Some of the universities which we represent across this world, you can see in front of you. We're proud to have the scholarships assistance for the students, which is a dedicated desk in our company. So up till now, 23 crore rupees scholarship is being awarded through us to our students across different courses, different colleges, and different countries under various different heads, which you can see in front of you. Some of our students who have got the scholarship as low as maybe 2,34,000 to as high as 100% tuition fee waiver. That usually happens when you get full assistantship or full scholarship to countries like Germany or USA mostly. We do career counseling. That's a first step because most of the time students are not clear what they want to do in their life, and our journey starts from there. So we just don't come in picture to support you for the college, but we go one step backward and say that, okay, let's see that whether you want to go for a different course, whether that is apt for you. We do IELTS coaching, which is the basic requirement, IELTS, TOEFL, PT, and then we help the students right from making an application to the university till finding the accommodation and in between all the processes. These are the countries which we represent across Europe, North America, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. We also help the students before they leave India to prepare themselves well so that they can be able to face the challenges, as the international students living in a foreign country, like cross-cultural training, etc., which we believe is equally very important. We monitor the quality very well. We visit our universities, we visit the colleges. Most of the universities we have already visited with our staff, so we know what exactly we're talking to you. We've been rated highly by the students on Facebook, 4.6 out of 5. We have got 96,000 followers. That makes us the third largest company in India, having that many followers in study abroad domain. We have got healthy rate of subscribers on YouTube. Google rate us 4.1 out of 5 out of the open rating. Some of the snaps of our events, programs, our international participation, university visits, our students meeting, our faculties, our counselors when they visit abroad, and that's what we believe in. Some of the success stories of our students, her research work was mentioned in the local newspaper of New York. She was studying at University of New York. Student from Ireland got in his 11th month of MBA a job offered by Dell Technologies. These are some of the success stories which you can go through. And me was counseled over 1,000 students, visited 14 countries, trained by all the by ISF, and recently been named. So we have also won this in lockdown period, some good awards, and then one award came from Insight Success Business Magazine to rate us among the top 10 recommended overseas consultants in India. And I've been rated as the top 10 consulting leaders by Knowledge Review Magazine. And that's it for
Hope we have not lost the host.
I think just for the benefits of our
Yeah.
viewers, we may be facing some technical glitch, but I'm
Yeah,
sure that Aslam from Alif would log in
so
back
shortly.
again. So yeah, we might just patiently wait for him to come back. I think he's back.
okay.
Yes,
Back, yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I hope that I was audible when I was introducing.
Yeah, yeah. Very
yes,
much.
yes.
Great. So that's the technology, and we've got to start living with it. So let me introduce Dr. Kuntal Das. Hello, Dr. Kuntal Das.
Hello, good
Hi.
afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, and good evening to you. It's I think around 9 p.m. there in New Zealand.
Yes, around 9:30,
9:30.
9:40-ish.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining at this odd hours of time. So let
Yeah,
me
my
quickly
pleasure.
introduce Professor Dr. Kuntal Das. He's a senior lecturer in finance at the University of Canterbury Business School. He's also the director of New Zealand South Asia Center at the University of Canterbury. He holds a PhD from the University of California, Santa Cruz, USA. His main research interests are in international finance, financial modeling, and applied econometrics. Professor Das has been a consultant at the World Bank and has held a research position at IMF, the Asian Development Bank, and the National Institute of Public Finance and Policy in India. He has published papers in the Journal of Asian Economics, Journal of Economic Surveys, New Zealand Economics papers, and reviews of World Economic, among others. So we welcome Dr. Kuntal Das.
My pleasure.
Our next speaker, Mr. Sandeep Sharma. Hi, Sandeep.
Kia ora, tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings, everybody.
Thank you very much. And that's the regional language, I believe so. For the having to
Yes, that
have
was a Maori greeting to everybody on the panelists and the viewers who are watching us.
Thank you very much. So Sandeep is the regional marketing manager of South Asia and Middle East International Relationship Office, University of Canterbury, New Zealand. Sandeep Sharma has been associated with University of Canterbury for the last 6 years, and his responsibility allows him to engage with the external government agencies like ENZ, NZTE, INZ, student counselors, and High Commission to facilitate the student recruitment. Now come to Indian speakers, and let me do the honor of introducing Mr. Mansoor Ali. Hello, Mr. Mansoor Ali.
Hi, everyone.
Mr. Mansoor Ali and his AMPA team has been one of the earliest whistleblower for the onslaught of the COVID-19 virus in India. He is working closely with the Maharashtra Health Ministry and Environmental Department to set guidelines for various industries post-lockdown period. As CSR initiative to salute the frontline fighters against the COVID-19 crisis, like doctors, nurses, and police officers, AMPA India has contributed dehumidifier in COVID-19 hospitals, police department, and DMC across Mumbai. That's really appreciable, Mr. Mansoor. Mr. Mansoor is also the founder of EFF Times, a platform to bring all stakeholders between the industry bodies of consumer electronics and policymakers, government, in association with the Retail Association Skill Council of India, focusing on environment and suitability. Our
Thank you.
next speaker, Dr. Thank you very much. Next speaker, Dr. Saritakumar. Dr. Saritakumar, we welcome you here.
Hello, welcome everyone, and hello, and good afternoon to all my co-panelists and all the viewers, those who are watching us. I hope it will be very challenging and fruitful discussion for all of us.
Absolutely, yes. So, Dr. Saritakumar is a professor of human resource management and economics at the SIS College of Management Studies, Mumbai University. She received her MA Economics, MBA HRM and Marketing, and PhD HRM from Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. She possesses more than 19 years of experience in the field of academics, teaching, and administration and counseling. The next speaker, Ms. Zeel Shah. Hello, Zeel.
Hi. Namaste, everyone.
Zeel Shah is a career counselor at the Galaxy Education System group of schools in Rajkot, Gujarat, with 17 campuses and 1,200 plus students. And she is a business graduate from Christ College and got into the education to guide students reach their dream college and career. Since the age of 18, she takes pride in making the difference in counseling students to follow their passion for the best results. So that summarized the introduction of our all esteemed and eminent speakers. Student parents, if you are listening to us, and if you have any questions, please feel free to write in the comment box and we'll try to address as we progress. So let's begin this session. And for the benefit of the audience, let's begin with a very fundamental, basic question. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Kuntal Das to answer this question. Professor Das, would you like to define what is economics, in an easy layman language for the students' benefit and parents' benefit if they want to make a career in it? And what are the different specializations are usually available in a particular domain? Das.
Sure. Well, in very simple terms, economics is basically the study of how people, individuals, and society they behave. So basically, it's about individual decision making, and also if you aggregate it, how the economy makes decisions on the whole. Okay, so it looks at basically the interaction between people, market, and the government. And the basic idea that it sort of focuses on is the trade-off that people make or countries make between different choices. Okay, so say for a very simple example, a student after doing a bachelor's degree is deciding whether to take up a job or whether to go for a university degree. Okay, so what are the trade-offs over here? Is there benefit to getting an additional years of education? What are the returns to education, for example? Similarly, if you're thinking from a government's point of view, the government is looking at, it has its budget. Should it spend more on education? Should it spend more on infrastructure? Should it spend more on health? How do we look at these things? So in some sense, it's an analysis of what are the benefits of a decision versus the costs of a decision, and how do we as individuals or we as a society, we make these different choices. So it's an analysis of that we have. Okay.
One
Now,
interesting
sorry, go ahead.
One interesting thing what I found out on your website is that the economics has been also connected with arts, commerce, and science fields at a time altogether, and it also brings out a different specialization. How does
Yes,
it possible?
Yes, that's very true, because that's I think the beauty of economics, that it really goes well with many other different subjects. So a very popular combination is economics and finance. Similarly, students can do economics and law. Students can do financial engineering and economics. They can do psychology and economics. They can do entrepreneurship, business economics. So all of these different fields really go with economics, because on one hand, it's a social science. So it gives that reasoning, it gives that critical thinking, that background. At the same hand, it's also an analytical field. So, and I have seen students coming in from physics, statistics, mathematics as an undergraduate and go on to get a master's degree in economics. So all of these fields actually match quite well. That's why we have the economics degree being offered as part of your BCom degree or a BSc degree or a Bachelor of Arts degree. So here at the University of Canterbury, an economics degree can be had under any of these sort of different fields.
Right. That's very interesting to know, the Professor Das, and I'm sure that a lot of value to students to see the economics as a subject differently. I would like to come to Dr. Sarita quickly and request her to define economics in the Indian context for the student point of view, that if they want to make a career after 12th for the bachelor's or master's, what and how you define economics for them.
Yeah, thank you, Islam, for giving the opportunity. So, as our Professor Dr. Kuntal said, it's a fantastic opportunity in India itself for economics in bachelor's degree, in a master's degree, as well as in the research wing also. So, coming back to the Indian context, there are disparity of income in India. What I meant to say, the richer are very rich and the poorer are very poor, exactly. So if this is that there is a call for the society, call for the government, call for the family, how we bridge this disparity in income. So that disparity can be bridged by understanding the basic concept of economics, which also give us an outline about the policy designing, how the goods and services they are being produced, they are being distributed to the maximum benefit of the society. That is one part. Second point I will add on that, our society efficiency. So whatever goods and resources is available in the society, they are very limited, as all of you know. So because of that, we have to use everything in a very specific manner, in a priority basis. So for that also, understanding of economics is very, very essential. So again, looking at the Indian context also, our system as such is demanding now, our Prime Minister is going for Make in India concept, where economics is playing a very, very important and vital role. If you understand the economics in a better way, that will give you linkage to each and every field. As again, Dr. Kuntal has already, given us a guideline. There are economics is related to each and every subject. If I can say, it is the mother and father of every subject, because our management concept, it is also started from economics, because Professor Adam Smith, who has given the concept of division of labor, that is in a safety pin industry, where the result is maximum output. So that is again, the economics has a fantastic opportunities in India itself. So that is my point of view.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sarita. I'd like to come to Zeel. Zeel, you're a career counselor for students who are looking for essentially a bachelor's degree after their schooling. How do you see we have got the attraction more towards other subjects, with due respect to those subjects, but we have got oversupply of graduates in those domains. We'll talk engineering and medicine. How do you help the students to be unbiased towards any particular subject, and then how do you help the students to look at the different domain, maybe including economics as one of the subjects?
So in our school, what we counselors do is that we allow them to explore the subjects since the grade 7th and 8th, and we actually introduce them to new subjects like economics and actuarial science and more other new fields, so that they come across other courses as well, rather than just focusing on engineering and medicine. And they are only aware about engineering and medicine because it is a profession. They have been hearing it from their ancestors and parents and all, and they have been seeing that these are the people who earn most, but the economists are not highlighted anywhere. So we actually show them the profiles, or the people who have actually studied economics and are doing very good. We ask them to do job shadowing, which actually helps them to understand why economic is important.
Right. So students get an exposure while they're in 12th through these subjects, at least to get more. So that's nice.
Yeah. So from standard 8th, from grade 8th to 12th, we have actually designed the entire, project for them, that how to explore subjects, what are the skills which are required in order to succeed in top universities and everything. So they actually follow those steps, and they are now aware about that these are the also new courses coming up, and we should look for that.
Great, good to hear that. At least your school is making a very active initiative to involve the students. Here, I would like to invite Mr. Mansoor. Mr. Mansoor, we have seen the academic side. Now, you've been an entrepreneur. I think there's some noise from the office side. If you can just ask anyone to check it.
From my side?
Background noise, yeah. Now
am
it's
I clear?
Yeah, now it's clear. So, if I would like to invite you as an entrepreneur, and you have done a lot of great job in this given difficult situation, when I take economics into a practical life, how do you see as an entrepreneur, as an industry representative of your industry, how the challenges are coming and how the study of economics or your research which you have done along with IIT Mumbai or through this pandemic, how does it help to address those challenges? So, what are the challenges, first of all, as an entrepreneur, you face in the practical life?
See, first of all, it's wonderful to be among some of the great academic minds. As an entrepreneur, I think we are all going through real challenging times. Some of the key challenges, what I believe, as an entrepreneur, in this uncertain, indefinite, and unpredictable times, are I mean, taking quick decisions and moving forward. These are, if you don't take decisions rightly, you will get stuck, because this is something which many of us, all the entrepreneurs or the world over, we are experiencing for the first time. So decision taking abilities for an entrepreneur is very critical. Second most important thing, I believe that one has to keep a very close track of the government guidelines, SOP, or the changes which is happening, particularly every second day at the whether at the center level or the state level. I'm talking from the reference from the Indian perspective. So it's very important that as an entrepreneur, you need to keep a track of the SOP guidelines, what are the government changes which is coming in. And third important point, I believe, is, I mean, in this lockdown, people are not used to quickly adopting to the changes. For example, to the digital areas, whatever. I mean, there are all kind of hurdles are there. So you need to quickly adopt to the changes. Beside all this important point, as an entrepreneur, be it the small or the big one, smalls and or the small entrepreneurs are one of the worst affected. It is important to have the right frame of mind, because being a leader, you are also setting an example for your team, and many of the time your team is physically not in your in front of you. So it's very important that you need to have a right balance of mind. You need to understand that what example you are setting it for your team. So some of the challenges which I believe as an entrepreneur, selecting the right focus work, a huge amount of challenges which has appeared, and this is for the first time. So as an entrepreneur, these are some of the challenges which I believe
Right,
has one has to really quickly take and move forward.
right. So now this round is what it is telling us, audience, is that we are learning about that it's like a trade-off. It's like making a right choice. It's a selection. What we are going to learn and going to address in this particular field of economics. Now we have seen the industry is going through a tough time, and then as an entrepreneur, you have got to make the choices based on the industry norms, government norms, and the customer behavioral pattern as well. Now, if I bring this classroom study and this practical challenges put forward to Sandeep, and Sandeep, if I can ask you that as a student, when I'm listening the academians, when I'm listening the entrepreneur, do I have a choice or chance to study as well as get some kind of, sorry, Sandeep, I'm just repeating my question. Uh, we have seen the choices, we have talked about the trade-offs, and we have seen that how entrepreneurs are facing the challenges. So do we have a chance as a student while studying this subject also to have the practical know-how of the industry to see how economics can be applied in the real life?
Right. So, see, I'll talk about our university. Aslam has disappeared, but the audience are still with us. So, at the University of Canterbury, one of the key graduate attributes, which means that once a student graduates from our university, what are the kind of attributes and qualities and skill sets we would like to have in that graduate or like to see in that graduate? Uh, one of them is employability and innovation. So it's not about possibility, it's our commitment to students to offer them a chance to engage with businesses where they can apply what theory they have learned in the classroom with a business and a real life problem. And if we talk about the Department of Economics, which is housed in the College of Business and Law, we actually have a department dedicated to this, and it's called the Industry Engagement Department, which basically keeps in touch with the industry, talks to the industry as to where are the skill shortages, where do they need people, and align the students, and it's basically a matchmaking process. Get the students to work with those companies on those problems, use their skill sets, and come and help in those projects. Most of our courses have internship as an inbuilt part of it. At master's level, also in business or finance, in information system or data science, these are compulsory aspect of the degree, so students have to go through it. And university is very well prepped to offer this sort of help where students get to meet the employers and engage with the industry.
Okay. So you mean to say that whilst doing the course, the student has a chance to get engaged in all these activities and get themselves exposed.
Yes, in fact, I would like to go further, and I would say it's not about chance, it's actually our responsibility, and students have to go through that because it's one of the key attributes that UC's graduates have to have: employability and innovation. And because of that, real life experiences while they're doing the program is very important. And quickly want to add that international students generally have some work experience back home in their country before they come to study at our university, and we take those transferable skills for the benefit of the industry as part of internships.
I think that's very important, students and parents listening to this, that the practical exposure goes hands in hand, and that makes you a more approachable, more apt to be absorbed in the industry. Now, I quickly come to Dr. Professor Das. Uh, Professor Das, now the world economy is changing. Everybody's talking that world is not going to be the same as it used to be. The economy is going to change. The scale of work is going to be changed. The policies are going to be changed or needs to be changed in order to adapt the new challenge and situation. How these changes are impacting the economy in general across the world? I know it's a very big question, but if we can summarize that somewhere, and will that have any impact onto the study of economics also? Do we need to also change certain things in this education as well?
Yeah. Well, it's a as you mentioned, it's a very important question, very big question, and I don't think we completely understand the ramifications of COVID-19. We are still going over it, and a lot of changes happening. But if I sort of take back a little bit more, not only COVID-19, but also after the GFC of 2008, 2009, already the way we look at the world economy had started changing. And this sort of brings us much closer to what we need to do. So I'll answer it in two parts. One is sort of broadly economics. When you think of it, we think about macroeconomics and the microeconomics. So at the micro level, what companies and firms are looking at, there is now a lot of emphasis on what we call data analysis and big data. So people or firms are looking at whatever actions Mansoor was talking about, making quick decisions. All of these decisions are based on solid evidence, solid data. So it's not coming out of thin air. So we know now, with anywhere pretty much you go, any app you use, you get tons and millions of data. So they are being pretty much used to understand this behavior and used it in that sense. From a government macroeconomic point of view, the main focus has been how to basically contain what we call the business cycle, how to better manage the economy, how to bring the economy out of recessions, and basically under this new, I guess, pandemic, how to ensure full employment. And in order to do that, we have tools like fiscal policies, monetary policies, but they are being stretched. We are looking at more interaction with the banking sector and the Reserve Bank, for example, macroprudential policies coming in. We are looking at now more policies like quantitative easing, some countries looking at negative interest rates, and so on. So people or countries, policymakers are being very brave, and you have to be thinking out of the box in order to deal with these kind of issues. So these are challenging times, but evidence, using solid sort of data and thinking out of the box is the way to go forward.
Absolutely, very rightly said, Professor Das, in a very crisp way, and to explain the dynamism which has been introduced in the world in the name of economics. Now that brings Dr. Sarita into the picture. Dr. Sarita, Now the students have got the background of it. They would want to know that now if they wish to get into it, what are the different options in India from the Indian perspective they can go for at the bachelor's and master's level. Sorry, you are on mute, Dr. Sarita.
We are in India. We have fantastic opportunities for graduation program as well as the master program as well as the research. Opportunities also. To name a few, if you give me the ranking, then we have IIM Bangalore, those who are providing the specialization in economics. PGP program, that is the MBA program or post-graduation program, then IIM Kolkata, then IIM Lucknow, then coming to the topmost university, that is Delhi University. It is providing economics in two grades. One is the business economics, another is the economics in the Department of Social Science. Then we have Delhi School of Economics. It is also providing fantastic opportunities for master's degree. Then we have very famous, that is the JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, which is also providing economics, international economics, Indian economics. There are many things. Then we have another important wing, that is the RBI, Reserve Bank of India. There is a IGIDR, Indira Gandhi Institute of Development Research. It is providing fantastic career opportunities in the field of research in economics, that is econometrics, microeconomics, managerial economics, all those things. And all these econometrics, etc. now you are using in stock market analysis. They are very, very important from the research point of view. Then coming back to the graduation point of view, we have BA Economics, many important top colleges, they are providing the graduation program in economics. To name a few, since I am in Mumbai, our college, own college at the SIS College of Commerce and Economics, they are also providing graduation program. Then we have HR College of Commerce, then we have Jai Hind College, then we have Bhavan's College of Commerce. Then there are many other also, they are also providing. In New Delhi, our capital, then we have St. Stephen College, then we have Sri Ram College of Commerce. They are providing fantastic job opportunities in after the graduation program. Beyond that, also many top institutes, they are providing BSc, Bachelor of Science in Economics. That is the Sibnadar University, Greater Noida, IIT Kanpur. They all are providing science program in economics also. So there are n number of opportunities in our homeland itself if you want to prosper your career in field of the economics. So it is very fantastic also. Yeah.
Thank you very much for enlightening the audience about so many options which are available for the students.
Sorry, Aslam, let me I just want to add something. Beyond that, many important central universities and state universities, they are also providing very good opportunities for the master's and graduation program as well as the research program, MPhil program for economics. So there are a number of opportunities. Yeah.
It's a wealth of information for the students and parents to explore this particular subjects if they wish to study in India. And you can also have a lot of options nowadays wherein there are many students who prefer to go after 12th or even after graduation when you do your economics. So those students who are listening to us, who are graduated from any of the Indian schools or colleges mentioned by Dr. Sarita or otherwise, you can also explore yourself to go abroad and have some international exposure within the same field and have a global perspective of this particular subject. So I believe that it's an underrated subject, underrated program, but has got a lot of value, especially in the given time, to see it very different, in a very innovative and a different way to make a career. I remember that when we were in the economics, with all due respect to the subjects and the faculty sitting here, but we used to hate these subjects in the initial days of our colleges, because when we looked at the notes, the referral books, which has been referred for economics, they used to be at least not less than 600, 650 pages. And we talk about secretarial practice or organizational commerce, they used to end in 200, 300 pages. And we used to say, how come one on earth can finish this 600 pages of plus pages books? And I still remember the Professor Chaudhary and Chaudhary, and that was a famous book which was referred to us during our graduation. But thanks to one of our faculty, one of our mentor at that time, Professor Cyril, I still remember his name. I mean, he made us fall in love with economics. The way he taught us the economics is a more practical way, not from the demand and supply curve point of view, but what exactly happens in the real life. And this is where we actually, by the time we graduated, we fell in love with economics. We used to complete those books, and we used to be hungry to go out for more journals to have a reference for those topics. So I believe that it's a very interesting topic to explore for the students and parents. And that brings me to Mr. Mansoor. Mr. Mansoor, now you have done a lot of research. You have been working in this domain, and as you rightly said, that the financial decision, the economical decision, the policy decision, and the framework really helps as an entrepreneur for you to understand the present situation and also predict the future. And in fact, I'm a big fan of you when it's called about talking about the predictions or the having the vision for any particular domain, which we have seen that repeatedly it has been proved true. You know what you said to us 3 4 months back. So, how do you attach the importance for the benefit of students and parents to learn to use this subject, to use this outcome of the subjects, and apply in a real time as an entrepreneur?
See, as an entrepreneur, I mean, we all know that the importance of economic and financial understanding is the base of any important business, you know. But what with my learning over the period of time, I have analyzed, if you track the policy makers, the decision makers, the government policies, you have a much better understanding what is coming for you. For example, Dr. Sarita, she spoke about the Make in India, the drive of the Honorable Prime Minister. That gives you a lot of idea, where the country's policies are heading towards. So, once you understand the economics and the financial side, you have a much better and the longer roadmap which is ahead of. So, it's importantly, one has to track the policy decisions which is going on at the government level. I will also say that one important point that India has been bit lucky on the last few years. We had two very big decisions. One was very sudden, which was the what we call it, the money transformation which had happened, and the demonetization was announced by the prime minister of the country. So country was not prepared, but over a period of time we were all, we got used to it. Second major decision which was planned was the GST. Again, the country went through the process. So if you ask me, putting in the current situation from the COVID perspective, India has been, the entrepreneurs have been a bit lucky, I would say. They, whether it was a blessing in disguise, they had some kind of exposure to, eventuality, they have faced. So as an entrepreneur, we see that once you track the policymakers, you are much better prepared to meet the eventualities.
Like I remember we had some joint meetings with even the SIDBI heads, those who are the biggest policymakers in this land. So
Yes.
how does it help? What you would like to invite advise the students that how should they look at this particular domain and how to prepare themselves? Maybe the young entrepreneurs or to be entrepreneurs are listening to you.
See, Aslam, we live in an age of data. I think, that is what Sada spoke about. So it's very important. And, I would say the young generation is blessed to have the data across the sectors. So it's about a lot of research and data tracking, and you also got to have the leaders, see, for example, today, even in the political leaders, the people who are really driving, whether at the international level or the national level, at a country level, there's a lot of major transformation and transitions happening across the sectors. So once you have a good research report supported by data, you will get into the game. You will understand, and you will have an idea what's emerging scenario. So one
Right.
has to really study all these parameters closely. There is no as such a rocket science. So if you combine all this, then you are in a much better position to analyze where do you stand.
Absolutely. That's a word of advice for the students and parents to listen to. Sandeep, that brings me to you. As Dr. Sarita mentioned out some institutes here in India who are offering and doing a fantastic job of promoting economics as a study of subject. How's your university is unique in your own terms in terms of quality of education? Where do you stand, the world ranking, and why students should look at? And one of the questions which I have received also here on the comment box is asking that why should I look at New Zealand or UC for a matter of fact for a bachelor's or master's?
All right. So let me begin with the university. So University of Canterbury is actually among the top 1% in the world as far as the global ranking is concerned. And if we were to talk about, say, focus as economics today, and if we were to talk about College of Business and Law, um, the accreditations that College of Business and Law holds is it's EMBA accredited. It's got the AACSP. It's got the Equus accreditations. Now it also has the Triple Crown, which only around fewer than 100 schools around the world have that. So these speaks volume about the teaching quality and the learning experience that students have at our university and at the College of Business, because when we go through these kind of certifications, each department has to align themselves with those standards and give the student those experience. So as far as rankings are concerned, definitely we are out there among some of the top institutes in the world. Our research capability and academia is also well known. College of Engineering also has a very high ranking. I know we are speaking about economists being better than engineering, but still we have a very great ranking in that department as well. Uh, uh, and when you talk about the landscape of where we are geographically located, so the region of Canterbury is the fastest growing region in New Zealand. Christchurch city, where we are based, is the second fastest growing city in New Zealand after Auckland. Uh, New Zealand as a country has yet again proven to the world uh, the way it's responded to COVID in terms of it being pioneer and how innovative it can be. So I think putting all these factors together, I'd say New Zealand is the right place for international students who are looking for overseas education at this point of time. And in there, Christchurch University of Canterbury definitely should be among the top choices of those students.
Thank you, Sandeep, for educating the audience onto this particular point. Do you have both bachelor's and master's courses available in this particular field?
Definitely. We offer bachelor courses and we offer masters as well. We are a research institute, so people do their research and PhD fellowships also. So we offer all plethora of courses in wide ranges. We have actually 5 colleges, of which business and law is a part. Outside of that, we have College of Arts, Science, Education, Health, and Engineering. So we've got a range of courses that we offer. I think except for medicine, we pretty much are offering options to most of the areas that students are interested in.
Right. Thank you very much, Sandeep. So, friends, we have students already on campus studying their bachelor courses. If you would like to get connected with them and get some first-hand experience from the students or their parents who are located in India, in Mumbai, do join us, write to us, go through our email ID, or you can see the phone number in front of your screen. You can just contact us, and we'll be more than happy to give you the references so that you can also get some more information and get connection with our alumni who are studying at this university. And I know that in India we attach too much importance to ranking. That's another subject to discuss in detail. However, since we're talking about the ranking, UC also rank among top 250 universities in the world for the field of economics, as per the QS ranking. And apart from that, as Sandeep rightly mentioned about the different exposure which you get and internship exposure you get, that I believe gives you a full, a complete good package for a student to explore this particular subject through this university. And that brings to me to the last round of questions. And I would like to come to Zeel. Zeel, as a career counselor, what do you think
Yeah.
can be done, according to your experience, to further popularize this particular program, which I believe has got a huge scope, but still is not being talked about much on the public domain? What, as a career counselor, is your advice?
Yeah, so what actually I do in order to show students that these are the new courses. So I actually explore, allow them to show that okay, if you study economics, these are the positions or profiles you can apply for. So like financial risk analyst or auditor or economic consultant, and this will be your salary for a year at the basic. So, what all your responsibilities will be if you become an economist consultant on this? So, they have actually an idea. If I'll study economics, what I am going to, what position I can apply for. Because if I give them an example, they are like, madam, engineers, we know that that is a profession we are going to earn, and we have seen so many. So Ratan Tata and all of those big personalities, you can see that okay, these people have studied engineering or medicine or business programs, entrepreneurship, but they are not exposed to seeing that okay, these are the high personalities who have actually studied economics, so they are not aware about it. So we actually show them okay, these are the personalities who have actually studied economics and are doing very well now. So then they are aware about it, that okay, these are the also options we can look for. And also they can always make a combination with economics. If students are interested in history or psychology, they can always combine economics with everything. And even
Absolutely.
those students who are good at mathematics, even they can combine economics. So we actually tell them that if you are not sure if you want to study economics or not, you at least take that subject as your part of another, the combination. And I'm sure it will definitely help you in whatever the streams or fields you are going in future. Economics will help you.
Absolutely. I think you made some very critical points, in order to have a students and parents look at this particular program. Uh, uh,
Mhm.
Idealizing is the best way, what you mentioned very clearly, because students
Yeah,
always follow somebody who looks an ideally.
definitely.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, I believe, for the students to have a look at it. Now, Dr. Das, now, uh, Zeal also touch upon a very important point, what most of the students was, or parents would want to know, that what would be the career options after the completion of this particular program? How do we see ourselves into the industry, into the corporate world, maybe in the government sector? So, what you got to educate them on the basis of the career opportunities post this particular program at bachelor's or a master's level?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, the possibilities are limitless with an economics degree, because the kind of skill sets that you get or develop is very, very transferable. So that's very key. So it's not specific to one thing. So you, on one hand, as I mentioned earlier, you get that critical thinking ability, as well as you combine it now with data and analytics and so on and so forth. So with these two things, you can pretty much get into any kind of sector that you want. In India and abroad, very popularly, you get into any multinational corporation as a business analyst, any finance industry, investment bank, commercial banks, hedge fund as a financial analyst, any kind of other, say, tech companies or otherwise as a market research analyst, for example. So all of these corporate sectors are available. Not only that, you have the entire range of government sectors, so you can get into any kind of government jobs with decision making. You can get into any kind of places like the Reserve Bank, for example. You can get into other public enterprises, other public policy institutes, research institutes. You can get into sort of World Trade Organization, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, IMF, all of those international organizations. So, depending on your specialization, you would touch upon both of these analytical sides as well as the critical thinking sides, and you can apply, you can move between different industries and so on. And the other thing I would like to emphasize is because you can combine an economics degree, say do a double major with many of the other ones like finance, like financial
Right.
engineering, like law, and now with sort of data analysis, artificial intelligence, for example, blockchain technology, fintech, so financial innovations, etc. All of these are high growing, high demand skilled jobs now, and people need, in order to start a business, in order to develop a business, everything is moving in that direction. So you can combine and get best of both worlds with an economics degree, adding on to any of these features depending upon your interest, and you can open up to all of these different possibilities.
Wow. I believe that what we just heard is a plethora of options which you can experiment, which you can combine, which you can add to the professional qualification, and then you can explore those many areas. And friends, I heard a lot of students also when we do counseling and we go for the career counseling lecture in the college, they they talk about very narrowly about the subject, and they see, I don't know what is there in the word in economists, they see a very serious face, something, coming out of the career profession, that the economist used to be with the specs and then is a very serious guy, maybe doing some research or having a very serious role to play. But however, as Dr. Das mentioned very clearly, that you have got a lot of different roles and different hat to wear and play around, and then you can apply this knowledge in the field of finance, in the policy making, in the marketing, in leadership, in various aspects of commerce, arts, and science fields. In fact, when I was referring the website, we are talking about even the sports coaching and then community services. We have got the services, these programs combined together with economics, and that's a very fantastic way you can experiment with your interests as well as the serious subjects together. And also, Dr. Sarita, I would like to come and ask the same question from the Indian context point of view. How do we have the career opportunities for the students to explore, whether they study from India or they study from abroad and they wish to come back to India? What India has got to offer them?
Yeah. So already Dr. Das has highlighted some important points also. So let me tell you one thing, Islam, the entire universe is running as per the demand and supply. Without demand and supply, I mean, we are helpless. Okay, so the starting point of everything is the equilibrium between the demand and supply. So that is again economics. That is nothing else. That is economics. Okay, so again there are other factors like pricing, like cost factor, like market analysis, market structure. We have varieties of market structure like monopoly and duopoly, then oligopoly, perfect competition. All those things are there. So irrespective of the field, specialization, irrespective of the job opportunities, whatever anybody is taking, so the basic understanding is economics, because if you understand economics in a better way, you can analyze the market, you can analyze the pricing. If you want to start a startup also, you should know the pricing concept also, the different types of market structure. So all those things are, the area they are coming under the purview of economics. So economics actually helping us to enhance our decision making skill one side, our analytical skill, our persuasion skill. So the many types of skill actually we are getting from economics. That is one part. Second part is today's human beings are very unpredictable in nature. I mean, manpower management is the biggest challenge for every company, what I can say. So other part of economics is the behavioral economics, where we are studying the behavior of the human being. So that is also because we are analyzing how they are getting the challenges and how they are digesting those challenges, and they are coming out with all the successful and innovative ideas, and which is the call of the hour for the recent job market. Because now we're coming to the COVID-19, I mean, all of us, I mean, you might be knowing, all of us are suffering from the psychological and mental pressure also. So that is also another, again, from the parent side also, there is an economic challenge, which I can say, because many have might be lost their jobs, so there are salary cut, etc., etc. So looking all those into consideration, again, economics is playing a major role also, how we are taking up the challenges and how we are analyzing all those things through our human behavior nature. So it is there are vast scope coming to our government sector. We have ministries of economic affairs where there are economists as a major, they are playing a major role. RBI, we have the grade B position where there are exam is happening every year. That is the economists, they are playing a major role. Coming to the private sector, we have many positions, like already Professor Kuntal Das already communicated, that the data scientist, financial data analyst, risk management, actuaries, all those things are very, very important in today's, and the stock market analysis also. So they are very, very important, where the background knowledge of economics is very, very essential. So there are lots of opportunities available in India as such.
Right.
So I hope I have given some important points for the students and parents.
I think you covered a lot of areas along with Dr. Das to completely summarize the career opportunities for the students and parents. I'm sure they will be thrilled to know that what could be the possibilities, which is endless, limitless, what you rightly said, and what rightly commented by our friend Himanshu Dev as well, is a very renowned career counselor. Thank you, Himanshu, for joining us. And I believe that these kind of different opportunities would help the students and parents also to relook at this particular subjects in a different perspective. Mr. Mansoor, I would like to come to you now. We have heard the different areas. As a successful entrepreneur, what is your advice and how do you see, because you've traveled a lot, you have worked with the ministries and departments in their policy making processes, and you have actually implemented a lot of economical studies into your line. What is your advice for students if they want to get into the business side of it? How can they use this information and use it in a practical way in their day-to-day life?
See, first of all, in terms of the COVID-19, we must acknowledge the startup communities has really come up well, and they have attributed a lot, be it the digital side, education, innovations in medical, the products or services. There's one very positive side. There's a lot of encouragement from the government also to the startup community. I mean, we have heard this word. Maybe if you go back 2.5 or 3 decades before, finding a good job was one of the main objective. But today, if you really see, every young mind, really is, very inspired to do something startup and getting into this mainstream thing. But as an entrepreneur, over a period of, you can say 3 decades of my experience, I would recommend any young mind to, plan any business little long term. Though, you may have a short term success stories, I mean, whether crisis like COVID can really turn around things. But once you have a little long term strategy, you are eventually, and better prepared to meet any crisis. So, we live in a different age. No doubt, the startup community and the startup thing is working very, strongly worldwide. I would recommend, do your research very, very strongly. What are you getting into? Prepare yourself mentally. Once you are ready, then you can really plunge into the whole affair. This is a different world, and there are enough success stories right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a very good point of advice for the startups. And we see a lot of startups are struggling in this particular point of time, who have already taken few steps and would want to go further. And for the students, if you really are thrilled to now know what economics is all about, what are the different opportunities, specializations, India, abroad, and would like to check whether you are really meant for it, then I would suggest that you can take our aptitude test. I'm just sending you the link here, and this would help you to identify your strengths, weaknesses, your aptitude, your personality, because it's a combination of three different tests. It's a personality test, interest test, and aptitude test, and that will help you to kind of navigate your own self to identify and see that whether you are meant for this. And we have got in India a lot of great students who are very good in mathematics. And what Dr. Sarita also very clearly mentioned, if you have got that skill, uh, what we usually do is go into a BSc mathematics, also have a look at it that if mathematics can be easily and smartly applied to economics, and you can combine the subjects and do a good study in the field of economics. And that brings me to Sandeep. Sandeep, if the student wants to come, I've got one question here. A student who is interested for UC, and if he wants to come, what is the general requirement for bachelor's and master's students in brief?
Right. So if a student wants to come and pursue their bachelor's study at University of Canterbury, we would expect that student to have finished their high school. And depending upon what kind of curriculum or board the student has studied in their high school, the entry criteria changes. So if I was to say in the Indian context, if someone has studied at the state board level, we'd expect 80% overall, and more than 60% in English. If someone comes from a CBSE board or an ICSE, it's 75% overall, with more than 60% in English. IB's 32 points is what we expect. So that's like the general, it gives a general idea of what we require for someone who's looking at bachelor's at UC. At the master's level, if someone who's coming, we follow the Nusra guide. So Aslam, you might be knowing that, and you can, later on tell your students and counselors, explain what that is. We basically follow those standards, and where we have divided university into sections. And if someone wants to come, is coming from Mumbai University or Delhi or Pune, they fall in elite category, whereby what we expect is that a student, and this is important part, we only consider the final 2 years of the degree. uh, and if the student has more than 60% in the final 2 years and not more than two fails, So what you all also call as allowed to keep term back home, ATKT and things like that, backlogs. So if you don't have more than two fails and you have more than 60% in your final 2 years, then you qualify for most of our master's program.
Okay,
So
that's great.
that's a rough idea of what is required. Of course, it changes from universities to universities, but this is kind of a thumb rule for students who are interested in coming to UC.
Right. That's a very valuable information for the students who must have noted. If not, then you can also go back to our journal, which we are going to share. We have already announced that students who registered with us will have a free economic career journal based on our today's conversation. So it would be customized to the conversation and will be emailed to you automatically once you register on the link which has already been shared. So, Sandeep, I'm just coming back again. Do you have any scope for scholarship? Because I've got one question here for students asking for the scholarship.
Definitely, we have different kinds of scholarship. It's all available on our website. But just to highlight a few, for international students, there is a Dean's Award scholarship, which is handed out by the international deans of every college. So that's available. We've got the first year international student scholarship as well. The amount of scholarship varies. It could be anywhere from 10% to 25%. So students who qualify, they have to, of course, fill out the application and follow the process. And once they are selected for these scholarships, the scholarships are awarded to the students, either for the first year or they're broken into 3 years, and depends upon, there could be some conditions that they have to maintain a certain grade over a year to be able to get the benefit next year. So scholarships are definitely available.
Fantastic. That's a very good news for the students. If you would like to subsidize your fees and if you are meeting this requirement, I believe that you stand a very good chance to get yourself in one of the best universities in the world. So the last question comes to Zeal. Zeal, we have heard everything now, and we have heard the different options and opportunities for the students. And we as an Alif also do a lot of workshops for students, for high schools, with the high school counselors, so that we can engage them well and then we can bring them the university. Nowadays, we are doing all online workshops. Do you think it makes sense to create an awareness through this kind of concentrated subject-wise workshop, for the students, so that they can deep dive into for 1 or 2 hours of session and get themselves more aware about the university and the opportunities that they have?
Yeah. So it definitely helps. Even we schedule, online sessions with students on different subjects and streams and all other, application parts and everything. So we actually explain them about the liberal arts colleges, universities as well, where they can actually go for the interdisciplinary subjects, which is coming up, and they actually are very interested in knowing a lot of more things about all the subjects in detail, because they don't have source to get the information. So if you go on Google, if you type anything, you get thousands of random websites, but you are not sure whether which information is accurate. And we as a career counselors, we actually look for the information which is authenticate, and then we provide them to our students, so they actually can rely upon us that we are going to provide the accurate and true information, so they are aware about it. So definitely this subject sessions and everything helps a lot in, to make awareness.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that it's a very important task at your end, being a career counselor,
Yeah,
because many students and parents would be looking at you and as a source of information,
definitely.
sort out these complexities which is available of over-informed people nowadays.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
very good. So great. I think we have also covered all the questions. Meantime, there are a few questions related to a deeper understanding of process, for which I would suggest that if you can contact our office or on this number, WhatsApp us or email us, and we'll be more than happy to take a detailed counseling on this particular topic. We offer a free counseling, so please feel free to write us anytime. And with this, I would like to thank all my speakers who've been available here from New Zealand, from different parts of India. Thank you very much for joining us here. And one line of advice or one closing sentence, if you'd like to add before I lead the concluding session. Dr. Das?
Yeah. I would say, yeah, like in India, as you started by saying, like most parents think about career opportunities in only the medical or the engineering field. People don't know much about economics thing, but things are changing. And the beauty is with economics, you can end up anywhere if you just have that inquisitive mind and you are sort of ready to explore, if you are interested in what's around happening in the world. And let me give you just a statistics. If you look across the world, if you are good in economics, combining with things like finance and so on, you probably would earn more than an engineer.
I believe you heard the golden words from him. This is what the students, the parents eventually would want to know, that how I'm going to make this career sense out of this subject. And thank you, Dr. Das, for inviting us. Mr. Mansoor, the concluding statement, please.
See, as an entrepreneur, over the period of what we have realized, one may have the best capability and best credibility. One must work on the connectivity. It is your connectivity which takes you to places, which keeps you floating in the business. So, be it the customer, be it your vendors, ensure along with your capability and credibility, focus on your connectivity. That's how the digital age is all about. And this is one piece of advice to any entrepreneur.
Very valuable outlook from the entrepreneurs, credibility, and the connectivity is more important in order to take the other seeds, in your for the journey. Dr. Sarita?
I can advise one sentence: feel a bit of economics in your everyday life. Feel a bit of economics in your everyday life, because that will take you to any height. Sky is the limit for you. Though there is no much awareness in the India regarding the particular topic, but still then there are n number of opportunities. Please take the advice from Aslam or anytime anybody, so that you can prosper in the field. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure that platform like this and speakers like you would add a lot of value and a lot of confidence to the decision of students and parents to walk onto this path. Sandeep?
Well, I think as Aslam said earlier, that business is something which has to be done with a with a long view in mind. And same goes for international education. Students should come with an hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mansoor
am
said
I
it.
audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Mansoor. So, international education is the same, which is you have to come with an open mind and a long term, and students should make informed decisions. And that's what I would advise all the students to make informed decision. And that's where people like yourself, Aslam, and Alif overseas comes into play. So that's my advice to any student who is aspiring to go overseas. Have a long term view.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you very much. Jail?
Yeah, piece of advice. This is 21st century. They have a lot to offer students. Don't settle for less. Keep on exploring more subjects. Don't settle for just engineering and medicine.
Absolutely. Okay, great. So that comes from the horse's mouth. So you got to be very open with the ideas. Thank you very much for joining us today. It was a wonderful session we had on why do we need more economists than engineers. If any of our listeners seek further information, please feel free to contact us on our helpline number in front of your screen, 99870 or visit our website, alif.in. Our experienced counselor will be happy to assist you instantly. My name is Akram Sheikh and the founder and CEO of Alif. Signing off with a promise to come back again next week, Friday at 5 p.m., with another interesting topic and some more amazingly talented speakers enlightening you in subject that matters to you the most. So until then, thank you for watching the program. Stay safe and stay excited.